I was at my locker, putting my uniform on, about to go to practice when they said your wife is about to give birth. Long story short, I made it. I made it there to cut the umbilical cord. But of course, the Seahawks was like, we need you back here. You know, I got back, finished off the year. I got injured that last year, but I still came back. I could have played, but that's when I was just like, you know what? I want to be like my dad. I want to go home. I want to be there for my son. I want to see him take his first steps, his first time going into this classroom. I wanted to make sure I saw that and I was there for him and I was able to do that.
Ricky Waters, what's up, man? Welcome back. Welcome to I almost said welcome back. This is your first time here, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great. I'm doing really, really good, man. It's so good to have you on the podcast. You and I were jiving a little bit before we hit record, but dude, like your story, holy cow, man. Like I gotta be honest, man. I've interviewed so many people, over 1,300 people, and I still to this day, like I'll get in front of somebody and be like, holy crap, like where do we even start? So where do we start?
I know.
Let me ask you that.
Yeah, I don't even know when to start. There's so much that to talk about and so many things that I've dealt with throughout my career and my life that especially like I saw what you're doing and I really love what you're doing and I really respect it. And I'm happy to be on this podcast as well because of that. And I love to share my story, with the other dads that are watching and anybody who's interested.
Yeah, man. And your story is powerful for sure. You know, I want to start, obviously. How old were you when you were adopted?
When I was adopted, I was a baby about 6 months, as
Okay.
far as I know. I was a
Yeah.
baby, so I don't remember the adoption or anything like that. Didn't even know I was adopted for so long.
Wow, really? But you know,
Yeah,
man, you talked very highly of your parents. And
yeah,
I mean, that's really
definitely.
cool. So what was it about your parents that just made them amazing?
Oh well, first of all, my dad was awesome. He was a veteran, tough guy, But and my mom was a nurse, so I just felt like their dynamic was great for me. They kind of canceled each other a little bit. It's like I don't know if cancels what it is, but they kind of like had a symmetry, kind of this yin and yang that I got on my neck. That was my mom and dad, and my dad was tough with me, but he was loving too. He was always there for me. He talked to me a lot. My mom did the same thing. She was more the hugger though. My dad was more the getting me ready for life, for so I'd be ready for whatever came my way. And I really appreciate that about him is that he was there. And I just knew that I wanted to be a lot like my dad when I became a father because I knew that was the way. I mean, he taught me how to fight. He taught me how to be tough. He taught me how to stand up for myself. He taught me how to be a man. Uh, Even when I was a little man, to start those things. He told me about things that are important to me that have become kind of like the mouse, kind of like the cornerstone for me going forward in my life and how I handled things in my life. So my dad, he was a heck of a guy. He was one of those guys that he wasn't just there for me. He was there for like the whole neighborhood. Like everybody knew my dad. Everybody respected my dad. A lot of the other guys in the neighborhood, they would come to my house. They could go in our refrigerator. They could eat, if they weren't getting the nourishment that they were getting other places, whatever. He was always there for people like that. He was the one that would take us to the games, take us to practice. He would take other kids because he always had a van. He always had a van and a Cadillac, but the van was for taking us places and making sure that everyone got where they needed to be. He was there for me. He really was. And my mom was so sweet to me and so loving and nurturing, and she would always tell me you could do anything, you can be anything. They both would tell me that, trust in yourself, believe in yourself, that kind of stuff. And I was it's kind of a big thing that people know about me and have heard, me skinny Rick. I was skinny when I was growing up, so I wasn't the biggest guy. I wasn't the fastest or anything like that. But they groomed me to become that. And I started believing in myself even when I was smaller, even though I wasn't as old as the people who I was around. Because what my dad, the fact that he got injured in the war, the fact that he was older than the average father was of people that were my age, around my age. He was a little older, so he couldn't really go out there with me. He couldn't run with me. He stepped on a landmine when in the Korean War, so he couldn't go out there with me and run with me and maybe some of the things that the other parents could do, and really like throw it to me and do all that stuff. But he would find people to do that for me. He would find guys in the neighborhood. He would guys that he so man, that guy can really throw. That guy can really run. That guy's really tough. These things, and he would use those guys to help me, kind of help groom me and get me ready for life. So he was awesome with it.
Dude, I have never heard a story like that. And what I mean by that is like that it's pretty profound. I mean, I'm sure you probably have given this a lot of thought yourself, but like, men, we have pride, right? We have a lot of pride, and we take a lot of pride in being able to do things or not do things, right? I mean, I don't know if we take a whole lot of pride in that, but like not do things that, other people may could, and I think the last thing a dad would think of to do is like, hey, let me get you somebody to play with other than me so we can get you what you need. Like, I think a normal dad would just be like, well, I can't, so you can't. Right. But
Right.
your dad didn't, he wasn't up for that. He was like, no, there's going to be a different way.
No. And now looking back on it, I'm like, this is amazing because it's almost like he had a plan for the whole thing, for him to know. Because some of the kids, I didn't really even think about it. They were 3 years older than me, 4 years older than me. But we'd put on the boxing gloves and box. We would wrestle, and he would things like that. He'd have me out there. He would come out and watch when we would play in the sand lot. You talk about the sand lot. You talk about we used to play in the streets sometimes till the cars come and our people chase us away. we used to play in parking lots, all that stuff. But my dad would come back there and watch us, and he would kind of coach me up a little bit. He was always coaching me, no matter what I was doing. I mean, I played football, I played basketball, baseball. Like I said, I boxed a little bit, did some martial arts. He was right there with me the whole time, uh, grooming me as well and telling me, hey, if I'm crying or whatever, or I got the wind knocked out of me, I want to quit. He wouldn't let me quit, never quit. He was always like, you finish everything you start. And that's what I tell my kids to this day. I'm like, yo, you finish what you start. You wanted to do that. Let's just see it through. At least do that. You could change after that, but you're gonna finish out the season. You're gonna finish out whatever it is that how you started. You got to finish that part out first.
Yeah, that's our rule too. It's like, yeah, you can not like it. That's fine. But you got to
Right.
finish the season at least. You don't have to go back to it, but
Right.
you got to finish
Right.
what you started. Yeah. I love that, man. Dude, your dad sounds like an incredible human being. Is he still with us?
Both of my parents have passed away now, and that's a tough one for me to this day because he is somebody who I could always go to. I could always talk to him. I could always explain what's going on with me. I could be real with them too. I could say, man, I'm scared right now. I am not feeling this right now. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know what to do. And he would be right there for me. And he was one of those guys. And I'm telling you, I mean, third grade education, but one of the smartest people I've ever met. I mean, just his street smarts, his understanding of the world and how to handle different things. To this day, when I go and sit somewhere, I don't sit with my back to the door. Just certain things. I'm really observant when I go into a place. I'm looking at all the situations, my surrounding. I'm looking at people. I'm looking at how their mannerisms are, different things, the way they look. Not the way they look as far as like their color of their skin or anything like that. Obviously, you'll see that. You don't have to worry about that. But the way are they making eye contact with you? Do they shake their hand firmly? different things like that. He would tell me to look out for and watch. Just it may not mean anything, but it may mean something down the road if you just pick up some of these things that are going on. And now if this person starts acting sketchy or something, now you know, okay, I kind of saw the little clues and now he's acting sketchy. So now I know I have to handle this person this way or that way or whatever it is, or this person's a genuine person. This is a person who will shake your hand, look you in your eyes, talk to you. His eyes aren't going around and all that kind of stuff. He all those things he taught me that I use them in life, and it totally helps me with the things that I have to do. Because I mean, think about it, being on a team like I was on, there's all kind of different people on that team, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different ways of thinking, all of that. And even though he taught me to respect that and respect everybody and what they believe and stuff, still know what I'm about and still stay true to who I am and, learn that way. But he was always cool too, that he would say to me, it's okay to step out of your comfort zone sometime. It's not like he never put me in a bubble, and that's why I try to keep my kids from just being inside a bubble. Of course, you want to keep them protected. We have to keep our children protected. We have to be there for them and all that. But at the same time, you don't want them in a bubble. You want them to see what the world is like before they have to step out into it. And he would always say that to me. I didn't always understand it when I was younger and he told me that. But as I got older, I definitely understood that and knew that that was something I had to pass on to my children.
That's really cool, man. It sounds like your dad taught you some amazing life lessons, like, where to sit in a public place, like how to be vigilant, right? Those types of things, how to read people, read the room. But you also mentioned in there that if you were like, it's mind blowing to me. Like if I was scared, I could go talk to my dad, and you and I are probably not far off in age. Like, and I know the generation like that the majority of our dads
Hmm.
came from. And I remember my stepdad growing up, like if I said the word scared, he'd look at me and be like, only babies are afraid of anything. Like,
Right.
don't be a baby.
Right.
And the thing is that I'm sure he was trying to be helpful, but
Hmm.
what that actually, the message to me was, okay, if I'm scared, I probably shouldn't come and tell you because you're
Right.
just going to tell me I'm a baby. Right. So, but it sounds like you could go, like your dad was like this unbelievable mixture of a compassionate, confident, yet he still like probably was even like was emotionally lovingly towards you as well, right? Like you talked to him.
Yes. Yes. And he
Yeah.
and he would hug me and stuff like that too. And but he'd also pop me in the chest,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
or he had these ways he could grab you right here, or like he knew the pressure points and stuff, probably from his war days or whatever. He could just calm you down. You sit down, calm down, relax.
That's right, dude.
You're getting a bit crazy or whatever. But
We,
I'm so happy that I had him. I didn't have an older brother, and growing up in the place that I grew up in, Harrisburg, inner city, uh, the hood. People would say the hood. It wasn't the easiest situation, and there were people out there that, I mean, I might go to the corner store. I might come out, and if I had my bike out there, somebody might be riding my bike, and yeah, this is my bike now, or whatever. It's like that kind of stuff where you go and you playing basketball, and they might just grab your ball. That's my ball, and they might just take it. So you better be tough. You got to be hard. You got to at least know how to talk to them, without being like, "Oh, please don't take my ball." That's my ball. You got to be able to handle yourself, and I'm just glad that he taught me that. And it wasn't always easy, and there are bullies out there, but I learned to handle bullies. I learned to take care of those bullies, and even help other people who's around me. Because I went to they put me in Catholic school, so I was in Catholic school my whole life. But everybody else in my neighborhood, no one was in Catholic school, so I was the only one in Catholic school. So I'm wearing a uniform. I got my backpack. I got everything. I'm coming from school. I'm walking back. It was walking distance to my school, so I could walk there. But you know, once I got to the school, I'm not in the hood anymore. But once I came from the school, now I'm in the hood, and now they're like, schoolboy. You know what I mean? Schoolboy, what you doing? Oh, you think you better than us? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I used to get it all. And a lot of older people would kind of pick on me, would be like, oh, here comes Smarty Art, and this and that. You think he's better than us and all this kind of stuff. And I'd be like, man, I'm gonna do well, I'm gonna make it. And they'd be like, man, you ain't no better than us. You ain't gonna do nothing more than what we did. What makes you think that or whatever? And I was always telling them, I don't know. I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna be great someday. You're gonna see. And they used to laugh at me because, like I said, I was skinny and all that kind of stuff. They didn't think I could do it, but I used to say I can do anything because that's what my parents would tell me. I could do
Heck
anything. I
yeah.
could be anything.
I love that, man. You and I we're cut from a very similar cloth. So I was in Catholic grade school myself, and you were skinny, I was fat. But it was funny. I remember coming home to my mom one day, telling her, I was like, Mom, I swear, wearing this Catholic uniform, walking home from school every day, it might as well just be a bullseye on my back for bullies who go to public schools.
Yes.
Because like as soon as you were away from the school, man, because the other schools got off same time, there were times I would run home. I'm like, I don't even want to face anybody. I don't want to fight today. Somebody's gonna pick on me. But yeah, man, I feel you on that one. When just out of curiosity, when did you find football and grow to love the sport?
Shoot, I found football probably around I probably was about 7 years old, 7 to 8 years old when I started. But I was even maybe even a little earlier than that. I started because I was playing, like I told you, in the street with the guys, and they were older than me. They were knocking the mess out of me. They were knocking the wind out of me, stuff like that. But they would say, "Man, you better not tell. If you tell, you ain't gonna play. You can't play with us. Then you ain't. If you ain't hard or you ain't tough enough, you can't play with us."
Yeah.
So I would always be like, "Yeah, I'm okay." When I can't breathe and all that, and they like firing off on me. And we used to play in the snow too, because I was from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So we used to play in the snow. They tackle you in the snow, man. You get up, man. You can't play with us. You gonna cry? You're a baby. I'll be like, nah, nah. So they were the ones that was really, really tough on me too, and I respect it, and I really appreciate it now, especially looking back now, because I saw what it did for me. Because when I picked it up uh, in Catholic school, when I in grade school, when I started playing for the team there, I was like, seriously, I'm playing with people my age. It was like, tackle me. You can't even tag me, because we used to play all these games growing up where even like Ringo Roundup and different things. We had different names for all this stuff, but where if somebody, like, say you tag somebody and they're it, both of y'all are it, and then you keep getting everybody. And a lot of times I would be the last person, and everybody's trying to get me, and I'm running. You could use cars, you can go around, you could do whatever you want, because we'd be running all around the neighborhood. And them hey, you can't even catch me, so you can't even tag me. So that's why I was like, wow. Once I started playing football, because at first I didn't know, because I was like, oh man, we putting on the pads now. This is different, and now guys can really hit you. But once I realized, man, what happened for me because of my dad and because of the guys in the neighborhood, that, man, I was pretty good. And I remember when my dad first told my friends, he said, man, I'm gonna take y'all somewhere. We going in the van. We gonna go see Ricky play. And they was all like, Ricky play? Like, he can't even hardly catch, because they would throw the ball hard to me. And so sometimes I would drop, and they'd be like, see, that's why I don't like throwing it to you, because you can't catch, man, or 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 whatever. So then I started to be able to catch a little bit, started getting better. But once I played with, like I said, the guys that are my age, people on my level, more on my level, man, all of a sudden it was just like, wow, I'm pretty good. Like right away, I would start thinking I'm pretty good. So I was like, man, this is something I I would like to, keep up with. So long story short, my dad took them to the game, and they came to see me play. And I mean, I showed out. I scored like 3, 4 touchdowns, and just really had a great day. And they just were like, oh my God, we did not see that one coming. because they were like, "This is Skinny Rick," and that was my nickname was Skinny Rick. So they always like, "Man, Skinny Rick." They was like out here doing that to these kids. They was like, "Woo, he might be something." So from that day on, the guys would always come watch me play, and it just started taking off for me. And I was good. I was good in basketball too, and baseball, but something about football, I was really doing it.
What was your favorite position back then?
I was quarterback. I played every position. I played quarterback,
Yeah,
running back, wide receiver, defensive back. Cause we used to go both ways back then. I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
defensive back. So I was safety, cornerback. They would put me on whoever's the best player. If they had a good wide receiver, they put me on that guy. I was like Dion, on defense. They would put me on the best player. And on offense, they used me all kind of different ways. But even when I played quarterback, I would run touchdowns. So they were like, you might want to think about running back. So sometimes they would put me at running back, and then I would do very well there. So then they was like, man, you might want to stay at running back. So when I got to high school, my freshman year, I was quarterback. That's why I have number 12. That's why I had number 12 in college, because I was quarterback. But I couldn't play quarterback for the varsity team. My sophomore year, they pulled me up. Actually, this is a good story. As a freshman, I was doing very well at quarterback, and one of the teams, I guess they were saying take him out. Now we don't want him to finish the game, so I was running on the sideline. I went out of bounds, and they still hit me and like knocked me out of bounds, or whatever. And I threw the ball at one of the players that knocked me kind of way out of bounds, and the head coach for the varsity team was there and didn't like that at all. So he was like, nah, you're not gonna be like that. Because I got reprimanded for and kicked out the game, and it was just like, man, I was like, whoa, but they hit me first, and they hit me out there. I didn't think I did anything wrong, but obviously you can't throw the ball and hit somebody. But so they put me on. They told me to come to the varsity practice. Brought me to the varsity practice. Put this red jersey on me. Put me on the scout team, and said, go against the first team defense for the varsity team. So of course I was a little scared and everything, but I was playing running. They put me at running back. So and remember I was a quarterback, but they put me at running back. So I said, okay, put me back there. I scored 3 touchdowns on them. Like I was all
What?
out. Probably because I was so scared that I didn't want them to touch me. And they hit me the first time I got it. They lit me up. But then after I got hit, and I was like, okay, I don't want them to hit me again like that.
Yeah.
So I just started boom, boom. I started making, man, I was reverse field, all kind of stuff I was doing on them. So after that, he pulled me up to varsity. They were like, man. And then that's when I started getting cool with some of the varsity players and all that kind of stuff. And that's when I changed from, because I couldn't play quarterback with them. So they put me at punt return. In the first punt return they kicked to me, I got the ran it all the way back, and it started raining. So they said, "Oh man, you made it rain! You ran back." It was like so crazy, because us being for a Catholic school, it's like, "Oh yeah, see, God even's like,
Yeah,
yeah." So it was like some of the legendary stuff. So then I became this little legend at that time. I wasn't still anybody really, I don't think, but it was starting to bubble up then, and people were starting to say, yeah, this is a kid we got to watch. And I only played, like my sophomore year, I played defensive back and kick returns and punt returns. So I couldn't even get on the offense because we had great offense. One of the running backs went to Ohio State, Jim Bryant. He played there, and our fullback, he went to Sean Borowski. He went to Penn State. So we had some good players even before I got there. But that's how I got on the varsity team, and that's when I started doing my thing, and the rest was history.
Wow. That is one of the craziest stories I have heard as far as like football goes. And then, so how did Notre Dame happen?
Well, Notre Dame happened because I feel like I'm bragging now, but I don't. I definitely don't want to brag, but I got to tell the story how it is. Me playing at a school like I did, our school was not as big as the other schools around. So there were bigger, much bigger schools, bigger campuses, more, they had more students and all that. So they were even a class higher than us. But our coach wanted us to be one of the top teams. And so he knew the only way to get there was to play those tougher teams, those bigger teams. So once I started playing against those bigger teams and doing so well, it's like people started coming to see me more and more. And then people start talking about me. And all of a sudden, and my coach, because the other two guys that I mentioned, they went the year before me. So he knew college coaches, he knew different uh, people in that area. So he was talking about, wait till you see the next guy, the number 12. Wait till you see him. Check out him. And so he started putting that out on me, and I started playing very well. And next thing you know, I was like ranked in the country before I knew it. And then I was like, wow, I can't even believe it. I started getting these notes and different things from people, and people talking about it. And uh, then I, like my senior year, I made all the All American teams, all that kind of stuff, and I became the number one player in the country as far as like the list goes. And I came out with Emmitt Smith in them, so I wasn't the number one running back, but I was the number one player because I played all these different positions and I could do all these things. So like even in college, the people who was looking to recruit me, they wanted me for different positions. Like UCLA, they wanted me for safety. Miami, the passing teams, they wanted me for wide receiver. But I wanted to play running back because running back was always my love for some reason, because I loved the the guys that played it. Like Tony Dorsett came from my area, was at Pitt, and then was at the Cowboys. So he made me like the Cowboys. I even That's even crazy because they were my arch nemesis once we got to the pros. I had the Cowboys was one of the teams we definitely wanted to beat. But that I would cry if they lost when I was younger. That's how much I loved them. And I loved Walter Payton, Jim Brown, all that. So it was running backs that I loved. So I wanted to play running back. And so I narrowed it down like that from the teams or the schools, because I loved all the schools. I was like, man, I could see myself playing for USC. I could see myself playing for Tennessee, Michigan. Those were places that I took a visit to, and I could see myself there at all those places. But my parents said, you got a chance to go to Notre Dame, you going to Notre Dame. They were like, they couldn't believe it. Once they knew that Notre Dame wanted me, and Coach Jose came, and before he came, there was Vinny Serrato was one of the coaches that came, and he's big time in football. He actually was working for the Niners. So after working for Notre Dame. So I think he was instrumental in me coming to the Niners after Notre Dame as well, because he was like, that's my guy, and that guy can do it all. And he would always say that. He said that to Coach Host that, and then Coach Host came to see me and was like, I think we found our running back. So after that, it was like, no way. My parents was like, there's no way you're going anywhere else. It was kind of funny because at first it was like, we raised you. We know we told you the right things to do and how to handle these situations, and we believe that you're going to make the right choice. And then it turned into, we're not going to let you make the wrong choice now. You got a chance to go to Notre Dame. You got to go there. So that's
Dang,
how Notre
man.
Dame happened.
That is a cool story, man. That is a very cool story. And then while you were at Notre Dame, I mean, did you think you were going to make it to the NFL? Were you pretty confident you were going to make it to the NFL, or was it more like I would love to get there if I could? That'd be great.
Well, I was always saying, you know, shit, I'm going to the pros. I'm gonna be just like Tony Dorsett. I'm gonna be like Walter Payton. I'm doing all this stuff. But once you start playing, I remember even before that, I played in the Big 33 game, and that was like the All-Star game. And I was used to, once I break through or whatever and shake somebody, it's pretty much over. I used to have fun with it, and kind of what I was doing in the pros too. With the high stepping and the different stuff, but I was having more fun with it. And I broke away in the Big 33, and I still had company. they was still right there with me. One of them even made me fumble because I was just doing the thing, high signing kind of thing, and boom, fumble. So that's when I started saying, "Whoa, this is serious," and I got to get better. I got to get faster. I got to get stronger. All these things. And when I went to Notre Dame and started playing there, man, I mean, there was some great players there. So Tim Brown was there. He won the Heisman, right? So this guy's there, and I'm seeing him. He's so quick. I thought I was quick because they used to call me all kind of different things, quick feet and like fancy feet and all these little different stuff. So I was like, man, nobody's feet fast is quicker than mine and all that. And I got up there and I'm like, whoa, this dude is really good. That guy's really good. Rocket Ishmael, he's really fast. I'm thinking, I remember we were running one time because we would always line up and run, and we'd run like 12 sprints or whatever. Maybe sometimes it'd be 40s, sometimes further, hundreds or whatever. So we was running. I'm thinking I'm winning. I didn't know Rocket was way down at the end. I finally looked down, saw this mug. He's ahead of me. So I was like, man, this guy's faster than me. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And it was 3 or 4 dudes who were faster than me. So then I started realizing this is not going to be as easy as I thought it could be because of how it started for me in grade school and then high school because of playing with those guys that were so much older than me and so much tougher than me and how they prepared me for that. Now I had to go to a whole nother level. And that's why I wasn't so sure. So I would be lying if I told you I was sure I was going to go to the pros. And even after my senior year, I wasn't so sure. Until I played in the Senior Bowl and the Japan Bowl, and I got offensive player of the game for both of those games. And that's when the scouts started coming to me. People started talking to me and saying, we're thinking about picking you. If you're there when our turn comes up to pick, we might pick you. And that's when I started saying, wow, I'm gonna get picked. I'm gonna go to the pros. And even I can tell you, draft day, the teams that told me they were gonna pick me, they said in the first round, if you're still there, we're gonna pick you. The first round came and went, and nobody picked me. And even then I thought, I might not get picked. What if I don't get picked? What if I don't even make it after all this and all this work and everything that we've done? We won the national championship. I won high school championships and did so well, and now I might not even make it. So I was really worried about it. I even had to go lay down because I had a headache because I had just all the pressure. And I told my mom and them, I just gotta go lay down. Just let me know how this thing turns out. And I was asleep. I even started to go to sleep. Next thing I know, knock on the door. My mom was like, hey, Coach Seifert on the phone. Well, first she said, somebody's on the phone for you. And I was like, huh? What? And it's like, yeah, it's a team. And he said, Coach Seifert. I said, what? George Seifert? Oh my God. The 49ers? It's like, yeah, he's on the phone. So of course I scrambled out of bed to get to the phone. Got there. Hey, we're thinking about picking you in the second round. We got the next pick coming up. How would you feel about being a 49er? I'm like, oh my God, of course I would love to be a 49er. Joe Montana was there. Joe Montana comes from Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? He went to Notre Dame. Great player. I was like, man, I get to go play with Joe Montana. That's all I was thinking about. I was just like, man, you gotta be kidding me. I would love to, sir. So that's how I got to the pros. Even then, even at the last second, I still thought I might not make it. So it was never really a sure thing for me until it became a sure thing. And even then, I got hurt my first year, and I wasn't sure if I would make the team because it's like just because you're on the team doesn't mean you made it. You have to
Right.
make the team. So
Yeah.
and so I thought I might not ever make the team, but I dug in. I remember when my dad told me when things are scary, when it's all that, you take a deep breath, you put your head down, and you go as hard as you can. I was running all my plays out like guys when you get up to that level and you're at practice. once you break through the line, or once you get, you put a move on somebody, you kind of slow down. Yeah, I was running all the way. I was right. They had to stop me. They had to tell me slow down, and like you going too hard. We don't want you to burn out, and that sort of thing. But I wanted them to know that this is how much I wanted it, that I loved this game. I was not going to be denied. There's no way I was going to let uh, anything stop me or deter me from being the player that I believe I could be at that point, because I started seeing I'm pretty good. I can now I'm at the pro level and I'm still pretty good, because you think every time you get to another level, man, what about that level? And man, and many times I even thought about quitting, and maybe I'm not so good, especially when I had to block the linebackers and defensive ends come in, and they're bigger than me, and they used to knock the mess out of me. I mean, they would roll me trying to block, but then I had to learn how to block. I had to learn how to get up under myself, get down, come up, jack them up under their chin, boom, get up under their shoulder pads and drive them and stuff like that. And once I started really learning how to do that, could not believe it. Could not believe that I could actually block guys who are bigger and stronger than I was.
Dang, man, that is quite a story, and I'm right there with you. Like, the phone call of whether or not you're gonna be a 49er. It's like, and you just can't even watch to see if this thing will unfold, and then you get the phone call, and that's unreal, man. And remind me, how many years did you spend in the NFL?
11, 4 years with the 49ers, 3 years with Philadelphia. Go Birds, who just won that thing, and then and then 4 more years with Seattle. So I finished up with Seattle, the Seahawks.
Were you with Greg Olson? Played for that team, correct? Right? Yeah.
I
Right.
think so.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry. Like, he's like my son's favorite player. I've had him on the podcast, but I'm pretty sure he was a Seahawk. But were you playing the same time as Greg?
I'm not sure, because
Because I
I
had
definitely know who he is.
yeah. I
So
had Greg on the show as well. I didn't know if you guys were on the same team at the same time, but you know, getting back to, like, I know one of the things that really really light you up is family. And dude, I have
yeah,
seriously, like, as you're telling your story, you're constantly integrating what your dad taught you, or the
hmm
support and love of your mom. Like, I just love that, man.
yes,
That's just that you don't hardly hear that. And like, for every dad who's listening, that advice your dad gave you, my friend, is just gold. And the advice that I'm talking about is, when you're scared, put your head down and just go hard.
yep.
Right?
Believe
Like,
in
I've got to,
yourself.
yeah, believe in yourself. I've got 4 boys. And so I've got
I have two boys.
you have two. Yeah. I want to hear all about them too. But like, my 11-year-old, so he's my third born, and he is a football player as well. And I work with him outside of practices for nothing more than confidence. That
Right.
he's one of those guys, man. He's got to work really hard for his spot. His athleticism does not come easy to him. So confidence is key with him, as well as like some know-how. But I'll tell you, man, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm totally ripping that advice off. In fact,
That's what's
I'm
up.
just, he's going to be home in 45 minutes, and he and I are going to go up to the field today and do some work. And that's what I'm going to tell him.
That's priceless.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm going to tell him that. I'm going to be like, hey man, when you're nervous out there, when you're scared, you put your head down and you go hard,
That's it. Take a
man.
deep breath
Yeah, I love
and
that.
go.
And just go. Right. And to hear your dad's voice in your ear, whether he's around or
Yep.
not, who's telling you that's a very cool thing that your dad, bestowed upon you, which I think is so cool.
He
And you're
went to
still talking
all
about
my
it to this
games.
day.
He went to all
That's
my
cool.
games in high school, college, whenever he could. He'd get in the van, drive there. He was always there. I could always hear him, Ricky. He had his deep voice. Let's go. Come on, Ricky. You can do it. And
Oh,
there were
that's so
times,
good.
man, there were times even in high school where they was giving it to me, and he come out, hey, what's going on? Come on now. dig deep, dig deep. And I'd hear his voice and just be like, boom, all of a sudden this energy would come. And next thing you know, I'd start balling again and we'd win the game. Because I just felt that energy from him that he always would give me, and he to the last his last days breathing. That's how he was with me. He was always like, man, you know you can do it. You know you can, whatever it is, you can do it. I remember even in college, I wanted to do architecture, engineering, and most of the schools were like, you can't do that. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't play football and architecture.
It's
It's just too
demanding.
much. Not even enough hours in a day to do both. And Notre Dame said that I could. Coach Holtz, he said that I could. So I went in there to do that. But then as things unfolded, it was like, oh man, it was too much time. It was like you gotta make a decision here. You know, we brought you here to play football, even though we want you to get a good education. We brought you here to play football. So you gotta be you gotta be over here. You gotta because architecture is one of those ones. Sometimes you got to sit there and you got to finish it until it's done. They won't even let you leave the classroom until it's finished, which means I would be late for practice and stuff like that. So I ended up uh, switching out to graphic design. But because of that reason, because architecture is a 5-year course, I didn't graduate right after college. I had to, as a freshman at San Francisco. I went to University of San Francisco to try to finish up. I only needed 3 more courses, but I tried to finish up, and they wouldn't let me take all the courses off campus if you want to get your degree at Notre Dame. So I ended up having to years after I finished go back to Notre Dame to finish and get my degree. But I did it. I went back and got it because it was important to me. It was important to my kids. I knew it. My wife was behind me as she always is, and she's an attorney, so she has all these plaques up, and my sons are always seeing her plaques up and everything that she did. And I said, man, I want to make sure, or her certificates and everything up. I said, I want to make sure that I have something up there for those guys. And I'm always, how can I tell them you finish everything you start? And how can I tell them, all this stuff about uh, education and how important it is? And we always read to them a lot. We read to them every. My wife read to my son Ricky Jr. when he was in the womb. So before he even came out, she was reading to him and everything. So we're all about that, and we're all about education and finishing what you start. So I had to do it, and I took them with me. My whole family came with me. We went for the summer. They let me take the rest of the courses in the summer. There was 2 more because they added one because it took so long for me to get it, and I was fine with that. Just as long as I got that degree, and I wanted to get my degree at Notre Dame because obviously you got that far. I might as well go ahead just a
Yeah, you
little
might as well finish.
bit
Yeah.
bit more and finish. And I was able to do that, man. And that was just as important as anything else I did in my whole life.
I mean, I would even say, man, that makes the story even more unique because here you are, like, playing pro. Like, if anybody who's out there who's playing pro is like, I don't really need to finish school. It's not that important.
Right.
But
And
here
people
you
were already
did. You went
saying that
back.
way.
Yeah. And here you go. You go back. I have a question for you though. Did Notre Dame make you pay for the classes, or did they let you come in for free?
I don't remember.
I mean, man, how can you not be like, you know what?
I
Just take the
don't remember.
class. Just take the
No, I
class.
know I
It's
had
on
to.
us. Well,
Notre Dame is not like that though.
they are not.
Like you got to get it. You got to get it.
Yeah,
And
they are not.
I respect them though. I mean, they're Notre Dame. They
Yeah,
don't have to bend over for anybody, and they don't. They don't.
they do not. Yeah, I want to switch gears a little bit to your boys. So, um,
Hmm.
are both of your boys adopted?
No, my youngest one is
The
adopted,
youngest. Okay,
Shane.
Shane.
That's why I
Yeah,
wrote the
wrote the
children's
book.
book, A
Yeah,
Gift Called Shane.
yeah.
It's
Gift called
yeah,
Shane.
because that's something we always wanted to do. Uh, Actually, when me and my wife got married, I mean, it started out beautiful, everything. It's like everything's magical until we had our first child. Ricky Jr. wasn't our first child. We had another child, Tigero, and he passed away. He was premature, and I was playing as for Seattle at the time, and so it was really really tough because I was going back and forth from practice to the hospital. To a game. I could have a great game, go to the hospital, and my child was there. He last 17 days. He was there, and we were going back and forth, and he didn't make it. So that's when I was like, oh my goodness, I don't even know if I want to play football anymore. I want to because I always wanted to be there, like my dad was for me. He was retired. He was a post worker at first, but then he retired so that he could. He got injured too, even more than he already was injured from the Korean War, so he could spend time with me. And I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to be there, for my kids as well. But then he passed away, and that was like devastating, obviously. But I still had to keep on playing. It was during the season. I still had to do my thing. I couldn't, let it affect me or even show it. And I think that the only thing that was my salvation on that was the fact that Ricky came a year later on the same day. And we
What?
wasn't even,
Really?
my wife and I wasn't even trying to get pregnant again, because obviously she was still a little bit in mourning.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
I was as well, but I had to. At least I wasn't there to. She was more able to just. I mean, she was there with her feelings, and with her own
Yeah.
mindset and everything. She wasn't working at that time, and she was just like boom, dealing with it. And here I am. I can't really focus on it. I got to stay true. And I was a leader on the team. This is the Seahawks, so this is like one ladder where I'm captain of the team and everything. Everybody's depending on me. Everybody's asking me the questions. I got to show the other guys how to play the game, what to do. So that was really devastating. But when Ricky came back, when I was still at Seattle the next year, and well, I say come back, but when Ricky was born, it was amazing. I was at my locker, putting my uniform on, about to go to practice when they said your wife is about to give birth, and you might be able to make it though, because she was in California, and I was in Seattle, and you might be able to make it to cut the umbilical cord. And so I just start taking off my clothes as faster than I put them on, and I took it took off, made it. Long story short, I made it. I made it there to cut the umbilical cord, and I was
What?
so happy and everything to be able to be there for her and be there with her, and to see that this child went further and was more full term and was fine. Was healthy, and so I was like, oh my God, thank God, thank God. The healthy child and everything. But of course, the Seahawks was like, I mean, it's business, right? So I'm not saying anything about them, but when are you coming back? We're happy, we're glad, that worked out for you. You got there on time, but what we need you back here. What do you want us to do? And I was like, no, I'll be back and everything. So I got back, finished off the year, and that was when I obviously like you got to finish what you start. So I finished off my contract, and that's when I really started thinking I could have went somewhere else even after that. I got injured that last year, but I still came back. I was strong. I could have played, but that's when I was just like, you know what? I want to be like my dad. I want to go home. I want to be there for my son. I want to see him take his first steps. I want to see him do all his first time going into this classroom, or all the things that I got to see. I wanted to make sure I saw that, and I was there for him, and I was able to do that.
Man, that is such a cool story. Just out of curiosity, did you have to get on a plane or did you drive really, really fast to San Francisco?
I had to get on the plane.
Okay. I was gonna say, I was like, man, like the stars really had to align if you had to get on a flight and everything else. And man, that's crazy stuff. And then so Shane comes along. So I'm curious with Shane, did you adopt because it was just so unbelievably, such an unbelievable blessing for you?
Yes, definitely. I always
Yeah.
wanted to pay that forward. I always wanted to do that, and it was really inspiring for me, and really made me happy when I found out that my wife felt the same way. When I was like, "What do you think about adopting, a child?" And she was like, "Yes," and she would totally love to do that. We understood that there were children out there who needed us and all that. So, and we were already like mentoring uh, kids and that are kids who are at risk, who haven't gotten adopted, kids like that. So we always uh, were pushing that forward anyway in that way. But to be able to adopt, I think that's like the ultimate. So we always wanted to adopt. We always thought about that even when we were trying to have our own kids. So once we had one, like you said, it was such a blessing. Why try again anyway? But the greatest thing was to be able to bring somebody in there who's already here, who already needs us, to bring them in and make them part of our family. And it was just amazing to be able to do it with Shane. And we even had to go to Korea to get him. He was in Korea, and that's part of the book. And the reason why I wrote the book is kind of the just for people to see and commemorate uh, this part of our life and how our family. I feel like he finished our family off because my son Ricky Jr. was always saying he wanted a little brother, always. And even at Christmas, what's your Christmas list? It was top of the list, little brother. Then it was other stuff. Then it became just little brother. Don't even want anything else. Just want little brother. So it was amazing, and we even tried. We tried to adopt local first, or in the country, but we had a failed adoption, and that was a tough situation for us. So but we didn't stop. We kept trying, and my wife came to me one day, and she had this picture of this child, and they was that we fit the demographics for this child because um he's a Nigerian and Korean, but he's in Korea. And in Korea, they was being honest with us that he's not gonna have a good life here if he stays here because just in Korea that they're just not like that. He's not gonna have a good life there. So they were like, if you can come get him, it'd be great. And we were like, oh my God, here's somebody who really, really needs us already here, already in a situation. And I was just glad I had, the wherewithal, the everything to be able to fly there, to be able to get him. And it just he finished off our family. He really did. He really did. And to this day, him and his brother are so close. Uh, my older son was like a little dad to Shane. He never closed the door on him. Oh, he could always come. Like once he started walking and could get out of bed, or he was like a little scared and all that kind of stuff, he could come into his room. He never he actually started coming and going to him instead of coming to us. First he would come to us, of course, but then he started even going to Ricky, and we'd find them in bed together. And it was just the cutest thing. But he was like that. He'd be like, hey little buddy, you know, watch out for this, or that could burn you, or all the things that you do as a dad, he would do as a little dad. We called him the little dad. So that's all in my
That's all in
children's
the book
book.
too. Yeah.
Gift
I love that,
Shane,
man.
yeah, that's all in there, and that's why we have them on the cover like that because they were always hugging like that. But yeah, that's how he became part of our family. It was just so amazing. Of course, he cried at first. You know, he didn't know who the heck we were, but he soon learned that we had him, that we had his
Yeah.
back. We were going to be there for him, that we loved him, and we were going to take care of him.
Yeah, he was probably like, yeah, these people are feeding me. They're giving me love in a bed. They're not so bad. They're not so bad.
Not so bad.
That's so cool,
Yeah, not
man.
at all. Now he's something else, man. He's playing tennis. He's so confident. He wasn't so confident at first, and he was one of those guys that if I did this when he was younger, no way,
No way.
no way. He didn't want any shine on him. He didn't want that kind of stuff. He was, he's real quiet. He used to uh, hide behind his mom. When people would come and stuff like that, he'd hide behind my wife, and even shoot, if she went to the bathroom, he'd go with her. He's sitting on her lap. He didn't want,
Oh
yeah,
God.
he's like that.
Uh,
And even if we go to the playground or whatever, and it's like, oh, go down, play with the other kids. No, even the
no.
kid could be right there, and they both be. Kid could be talking to him, and he'd be looking at him straight like this while the kids trying to talk to him. But now he's confident. He's on the leadership committees. Oh man, he's doing. I'm so proud of him and how he's making speeches now. He's doing all kind of stuff, and he's come out of his shell. And I feel like a lot of that's because of how we raised him and how I did the same thing. Like I said, that my dad did for me. My wife was there 100%. She's so good with them, and she talks to him all the time and tells them they can be anything. Same thing. You could do anything. You could be anything, and it works. It works. And actually, she's helped me to be more calming when I talk to them. Because at first, I mean, I always joke about this, but it was almost like it was double Dutch. When they would come to talk to me, they would start to say something. I'd be, oh, what? Man, why would you think that? Or, man, don't worry about that. Or, I start jumping in. But then I start realizing the
Yeah.
first thing they say is not even what they want to talk about. So if you
Oh yeah.
jump on that first thing they say, then you won't hear what they really want you to talk about with them. So I started learning to sit back, let them talk, let them say whatever and just go, oh, okay. And then when they get from saying that first thing, because now they say, okay, that's cool. He's not tripping. Now I think I could tell him this next thing. And then I know there's another thing coming. Oh, same thing. Okay. But then the real thing comes. It always seems to be the third thing that is the real thing they want to talk about. So I had to learn that. And now I can help them much more. And I could, by being patient, not being fiery, and all that kind of stuff, or getting mad right away, or you let that kid push you, or you let him do that, or something. Nah, just kind of stay calm and listen to them, and that has helped me tremendously because
Oh
I'm
man.
being more patient with them, talking
Yeah,
things
dude.
through with them, listening to them. You got to listen to
Yeah.
them because and now they're teaching me stuff. I'm like, man, hey, I'm dad. You're teaching me stuff, especially my oldest one. He's so smart. Uh, he graduated St. Mary's, everything. He's worked for a couple startups in biotech. He's a scientist, and now he's selling these big microscopes and stuff for kiosks, and he's telling me stuff all the time that I that I know that I never knew, and stuff I didn't even learn in school that he's teaching me. So it's just great once you let them talk and realize that they can teach you something too. So it's not always just one way. It goes both ways, especially with Shane. It's, it's not just we brought him in and we gave him a great life and we did all this stuff for him. He did something for us. We needed him. We felt like we were incomplete still. We loved Ricky Jr. and we were so happy to have him and him to be healthy. But we had to listen to him saying, I want a little brother.
Yeah,
And we
man.
had other kids that would come in, kids in foster care, or that we would have them come and they would stay with us, or they would go with us if we go to the park or whatever things we would do. We would always have some other kids there with us, and a lot of them were older than him. So he respected them obviously, and it was great having them around. Because, like I said, I didn't want him in that bubble. I wanted him to know that other kids are out there, they're hungry, they would love to have what you have, you know. So that's why he didn't complain about stuff and all that, because he would see these other people who are older than him who need the stuff that he has been allotted and is has been blessed with. So then, so that he would learn to, first of all, respect us and respect that we're giving you these things, but don't take it for granted. Don't take
Yeah.
anything for granted, you know, out there. And it worked. It worked. And to this day, some of those kids who was in the foster kid teens that we were mentoring and all that, they started out, they were like 11, 12, something. Now they got families. Now they're successful. Now they have jobs. Now they're doing their thing. And for us to be able to have shared that with those individuals, first of all, but also with our son, to be right there and see that, it was a great thing for us, and it was a great thing for our kids. And to this day, those guys just hit me up, happy Father's Day, you know, happy birthday, all this stuff. I'm just like, oh my God, it just makes me want to melt every time, man, that these kids still think about me, they still care about me, they still come to see me. uh you know, we'll bring them out to see us if they want to. If they want to come, we'll help them get here if they can't get here on their own. A lot of them want to do it themselves, which I really respect, because they're like, no, you did enough for me. You know, I just want to come out and show you a good time. I mean, it's just amazing, these young people who have been in our life and that we have been able to touch in this way. And I swear a lot of it, as far as from my point of view, is because of my dad and my mom and the way they were. And like my mom, I didn't say enough about her because she was a nurse, and then she started doing private duty nursing. So she was taking care of elderly people, and those people loved her because of how she was. And sometimes I wouldn't even see her unless I go with my dad to take her from one job to the next, because she was working so hard and so much. But she loved it. She loved her job, and she never complained or anything like that. And she would even come home, and because my dad was one of those, like, you make up your bed, you know, you do you're going to do your chores and all that. You got to build those good work habits. And my mom would say, okay, your dad, wait till he leave and whatever, and she'll make up my bed for me, or, you know, she helped me out a little bit with some of those things. And of course, I appreciated that as well. But I also appreciate that my dad made me do those things, because I realized how important that was, those good work habits. And they turned into good study habits, and started and turned into me just having good habits as an adult, and passing that on to my children as well.
Man, I'll tell you, if there, we always talk about like either continuing, the pattern of good parenting on, which you don't hear much about, because usually what we have to do is break the pattern of bad parenting so we can be better
Yes.
with our kids. But what you've done, man, and I've rarely heard a story like this. As many interviews as I've been blessed to do in the past
Wow.
decade, I have rarely heard the story of like my dad was so awesome that I just couldn't help but carry on like his incredible pattern of parenting, his legacy, because I know how much it was meaningful to me or you, right? And what a beautiful way. I mean, dude, like, listen, I can feel in the audience too. I want to speak for them too. I can feel the love that you have for your dad, the
Oh
respect that you
man.
have for your dad, and like, man, what I'll tell you in the very little time that I've known you, like just in this hour, like these young men are blessed to have you as a dad. Like what
Oh,
an
thank you,
amazing
bro.
dude. I mean that, man. Like
You
what
almost
an
brought a tear to
amazing.
my eye right there. You almost brought a
Well,
tear to my
well,
eye.
I'll tell you, man. I mean, like you can come from a good childhood and then completely self-destruct and sabotage and blow it up when you have the opportunity, or you can come from a really bad childhood and step into like, nope, not on my watch. I'm going to do this best I possibly can. And then, we have situations like yours where you just beautifully keep that pattern going, which, man, we should all be so lucky. And I think that is amazing. You know, the last question I have for you is, you've lived like 10 lives in a very short period of time. I feel like,
I feel
yeah,
like it.
yeah, man. Like, uh, you know, you come from the background you come from. You have, you know, you're in professional, you're in professional sports. You know, now you're a published author. You know, and the question I have for you is, my gosh, like, what's next for Ricky? Like, I feel like the sky's the limit, man.
It's all about giving back for me. Right now, it's all about giving back. I love I do speeches, motivational speeches mostly. I who would have ever thought that I would have this book and I'm reading to these young people. I'm reading my book to babies sitting on their mom and dad's lap, and they are not moving. They are following my every word. They are totally engaged with me. They're not fidgeting, any of that stuff. And to be able to express myself to them, because I always set it up, because I looked it up how to read a book to kids, because I was like, man, I started doing it at first, and then I said, man, I think I should look this up and see how other people do this. There might be something even better than what I'm doing. And I actually went to a Chinese library, and so a lot of the kids there didn't speak English, and so I had a translator. And that translator, after I would say my part, she was just acting it out and talking. I mean, she was saying it, you know, in a language I didn't understand the Mandarin that she was speaking, but I'm just like, whoa. And so I said, I need to do a little bit more of that. And once I started doing that, I started learning, started taking it really seriously, because I don't want to just be up there, oh, you know, I'm Ricky Waters, so listen to me because I'm cool or something. It's like, no, I want to be able to do this and do this well. And I want the kids to want to be there. So they said one of the things you do is set it up by telling them a little story. So I told them a little bit about myself, about a little bit of the story, the background, and then I would do the book with them and act it out a little bit, talk about some of the things that they're seeing on the page, the illustrations and all that. And after that, I leave it for questions. And a lot of the questions some come from the kids, but most of them come from the parents. So once the parents start asking me all these questions, they ask the best questions, like you ask the best questions. They ask the best questions that make me say these things that I'm saying today, you know, some of those things. And I just love being able to talk to the people like this, to get myself across to people of all ages, especially the younger adults when I speak to them, because they don't play and they will sniff out if you're fake or you're trying to be cool or you're trying to talk down to them or preach to them or anything like that. So I don't do that. I just tell them my stories and I tell them, you know, the mistakes I made and stuff like that. And just afterwards, they'll be lined up to talk to me more. And even when I'm asking them, they're all raising their hands. You would think when I first start, they're like, man, what's this guy gonna tell us? Or man, what, you know? And all of a sudden, then they're like, boom, and then they're like listening to me, and then afterwards, they're asking me questions that they didn't want to ask, you know, in front of everyone. Man, that's priceless. That's priceless. And I'm even now going to businesses and I'm talking motivational speaking for them because it's the same. It's they have the same things that they have to worry about that I had when I came in as a new guy, and I was the new guy trying to make it, and then all of a sudden I became the leader of the team. Now people are counting on me. Now I have to show them the way. Now I have to be that person, you know, so and even pass it on to others. And even somebody who might take my spot. That's the whole thing that you have to do. I mean, I had so many running backs come behind me who are great. You know, Sean Alexander, all these guys. I could just go on and on. Uh, that were Deuce Staley. I mean, it's just I could just go on and on. But it's important to me because of learning all these lessons and being able to share it with these people like I am. It's just the best thing ever, and I can't see myself doing something else. other than that right now. The fact that I can give back like I can, the fact that people care what I think, care what I'm talking about, even uh, especially the younger people even care about me or look me up because now then they start looking me up, they start talking about me, uh, then they start reaching out to me and all that stuff on social media and all that stuff, and I get your stuff that comes on social media and I really appreciate it for all my fans, and I love my fans, and it's just so much fun going out and doing that. And I do autograph signings and stuff like that as well. It's just a lot of fun for me now. It's this giving back thing is
Give
something
back. Yeah.
else.
That's so cool, man. Just to give back. It's like it's not the project, it's not the big thing. It's just to give back, man. That's awesome. Well, Ricky, we're gonna have a link for your book and actually your website, because I know you can buy it on Barnes and Noble, you can buy it on Amazon, pretty much anywhere where they sell books.
Yes.
But I also want to make sure, like, where's the best place for our guys to connect with you?
Oh yeah, that would be my wife. That would be, but also rickywaters.com.
Got it.
Check out
Got it.
rickywaters.com for sure.
All right. Well, we're going to have all the links in the show notes. Not to worry, guys. Head on over to thedadedge.com/535 for the show. Again, thedadedge.com/535. Ricky, thank you so much for coming on today, dude. This was awesome.
Yes, sir. Man, this was great, man. I appreciate you too. And let's do it again sometime, maybe.
I would love it. I would love it.